It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was the right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed their souls, not just their worst desires.
Absolutely.
And
yes, indeed.
This kind of sums up my entire dialogue career on the heat of the night. You ready for this? Okay, this is it. My 7 years on the heat of the night. My dialogue all summarized into this. Get right on it, Chief.
Skinner, but Bubba's my name. I like my iced tea sweet and my women the same. I'm your brown-haired badge here in little old Sparta, but nobody's bigger or tougher or smarter. If you're looking to fight, best not be with me. Gonna be held tight, well now we'll just see. You never know in the heat of the night on TNT. Heat of the night on TNT. Now I don't put on any airs, but then I ain't no slob. Just a redneck boy with a blue-collar job. The ladies I date, they gonna have them some fun, cause I'm a big hunk of crime fighting son of a gun. So if you're looking to fight, come on up in the ring. You wanna be held tight, just about anything can happen in the heat of the night on TNT. Hubba, 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 heat of the night on TNT. Yeah.
It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was the right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed.
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Sinlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
From NFL quarterback to Hollywood,
to the mayor's office. And now, behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable. We are live. We are
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX.
I love Free For All Friday, folks. Thank you for tuning in. It is Free For All Friday, Guillermo. You don't charge folks for listening. You don't. It's free on radio, free on the internet. I just saw CNN's headline says Donald Trump said he would fire Jack Smith if he's elected. No kidding. No, he's going to keep the special prosecutor that's been working overtime to sit in prison for the rest of his life. That's going to be one of the first holdovers. Hey, Jack, why don't you hang around?
Yeah, no kidding. Let me show you the door. Jack, the door is right over there.
Yes. Yeah, but golly, you would carry that as your lead story? Trump says he would fire Jack Smith if elected president in 2024. Yeah. Oh, my gosh almighty. Okay.
It's funny because you got Fox News talking about the Hunter Biden legal woes and CNN talking about the Trump legal woes.
Yeah, exactly. But you have Hunter Biden today saying that he admitted that he did accept a $664,000 check from the Chinese government.
Oh, that's it?
Well, no, that's the first one he's admitted to.
The first installment.
You got quite a few there. That little bank statement that he has there as you go through expenditures and debits and receipts for the last 20 years. Oh, new charges filed against Trump. Let me ask you, Gary.
Ask away.
Because, again, I'm not. In fact, I'm going to tell the story. It's going to prove to you that I'm not a forever Trump guy. I'm not enamored with it. I haven't drank the Kool-Aid. MAGA, SMAGA, whatever. I think his policies, the vast majority, were good for America. And he didn't come up with them. He didn't come up with lower taxes, help the economy, and help the middle class. He didn't come up with secure borders are probably good for national security and the economy. He didn't come up with peace through strength. He didn't come. These are right to life.
Alan, that's not true, Alan.
He came up with them all.
And when I was in the womb, I thought of it all, Alan. Alan, I'm the one that gave that to Ronald.
That's what gets him in trouble. That is true.
It is.
That's what gets him in trouble. He came up with it. Mount Rushmore. They're carving out a block for me now. They're going to have to lose Teddy. Teddy's going to have to go. It'll be a little transformation there.
The polls show it. I should be up there. Some say I should take the place of Washington.
Yes.
Some people say. I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying it, but people have said. Oh, my goodness. No, but when you see what Jack Smith's doing, and you see the lead story everywhere last night, not the fact that the judge
that's very true.
in the Hunter Biden plea deal, sweetheart deal, said not so fast. And they tried to hang on. We're going to go over to this Hunter Biden. I want to go back to the Trump document handling thing, which dominated the news last night.
Oh, maintenance man.
Not the fact. And the maintenance man, Carlos. Yeah.
Why you got to go after Carlos?
That's my first name.
Where were you?
Where were you? Hey, listen. They're trying to paint this guy as some brainwashed little guy that Trump took advantage of because he's got loyalty to his employer or whatever. But I mean, it's a different. It's worthy of discussion. But you have these prosecutors and the defense lawyers work together. That's why you can't trust this whole process. Getting in cahoots with the prosecutors proposing the defense rather proposing a sweetheart deal, the prosecutors going along with it, or it could be the other way around. Anyway, a deal was made where this fellow who didn't pay taxes on $1.6 million, just one charge, just one, not all the shell companies that were created, all this other money that can't be explained. He did not register with FARA. That's the Foreign Agents Registry Act, that if you're going to go and make money off of a foreign country, you have to register as a foreign agent. And he was already on the board of a Ukrainian company, taking money from China, Russia, never registered. Now, that's a big thing.
Who's the CPA?
Well, they're going to find that out here.
H&R Block?
Well, hey, don't insult H&R Block. The tax consultants of the middle class.
Hey, they got some documents Hunter hasn't picked up yet either.
But you have these prosecutors, and they bury this one little notation in the plea deal, not with the tax failure to pay taxes, not with the so-called big stuff, but with underneath, way down on page whatever, of his gun violation, that he lied and said he had never had a drug problem, and he bought a gun. The charge that most people would say, okay, that's not good, but that's not something that's going to threaten the security of the United States of America. It may threaten his own security and people around him, and you don't want crackheads having loaded weapons for sure, but not a national security issue. But planted in that area of the plea deal, on page whatever, in little tiny print, was this little aspect of the plea deal. That this plea deal, once the judge accepts it, no other charges of any kind, FARA law violations, any kind of crimes involving bribery from another country, pay to play for him, he cannot be charged on any of that. And the judge went, whoa, hold on there. They tried to hide it from the judge, which really ticked off the judge. You could tell she was really ticked off. What kind of fool do you think I am, was her tone as she moved forward. Yeah. Well, then she came back and said, is there a...
She like Judge Judy?
Yeah, worse. Worse than she was
That's
mad.
Stupid written on my head right here.
She was mad. Remember Judge Joe Brown?
Remember
when he would go off? That was this lady. She went Judge Joe Brown on him and said, look, is there any precedent for this kind of plea deal that involves these kind of possibilities with the growing evidence that there's more to come? And his own own defense attorneys and prosecutors had to say, no, there's no precedent. There's never been anything like this, which again shows clearly the two-tiered forms of government. Then you have that's not the lead story. I mean, this you see it every time you're historic this, historic that. First person of trans person to be in this department and that department, and historical things with Kamala Harris, historical things, the president being impeached twice, historic this, historic that. You have this thing with Trump being charged, historically speaking, for like the fifth or sixth indictment. Every time Jack Smith indicts him on something else, it's historic, never been done before, because it's too stupid to have been done before. It's too stupid. You're going to say that the mishandling of documents is a big thing, but what just happened in that courtroom with Hunter Biden is a little tiny thing? So, Guillermo, my question to you is this whole mishandling of documents. They have now their big smoking gun is two things. These papers that you hear on the audio recording, which Trump says was a bunch of newspapers or this and that, are now they're saying, no, they have proof that it was actually a top secret document that he put at risk the national security of CIA agents, as if he was saying, okay, let me take you through this document, holding it up as if the people there could read that document while he's holding it up, waving it around. They have these supernatural powers to read the whole document.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on here? There comes a time when you have to pull down the curtain on the theater of the absurd and say, let's move on. But you're going to have people stand up and go, enough's enough.
So what I think you have here, it proves and I said this earlier on the week, it proves the greatness of America, that we have a judicial system that works sometimes. I'm not saying it works all the time. And I'm actually pretty surprised it's working this time in this particular case. So that's what you have going on. What I find really interesting, because they tell you in law school, like you better be prepared. You better be prepared. You better be aware, and you better have an answer for every possible outcome. So when I look at, and I've seen this on Trump's legal team too. When I look at Trump's legal team and his defense, I'm looking at Hunter Biden's legal team and defense. I'm thinking to myself, who did these guys not hire like the best attorneys coming out of law school or from the biggest law firms? Because you're not going to hire the new kid right out of law school. And it just, I find comfort in knowing, because I think we hold these individuals up on a higher standard, on a bigger pedestal. I find comfort in knowing that even them, they can really botch and screw this thing up. Now, I think Hunter Biden, you look at his case, they really botched it up. And it begs this question. And I almost feel, and you're going to get mad at me, but I almost feel bad for the guy, because it wasn't his choice to be the president's son. And Hunter Biden is a very, very flawed individual. He's got drug addiction.
As we all are.
He's got drug addiction. He has issues with paternity, and he's got kids he's dealing with. And when you look at the guy and you look at some of the age progression, we always talk about the presidents becoming older. You look at Hunter Biden just a few years ago. You look at him now. Like, this guy is really troubled. I think if he was in our friend's family, we'd say, hey, let's get this guy some help. So I first want to just tell all the conservatives, I know the Bidens, and specifically Hunter, are just a cool punching bag, right? Like, man, they're easy. They're easy. And Hunter makes it extremely easy. Just like Trump makes it really easy for the left, Hunter Biden makes it extremely easy for the right. But for goodness sakes, I hope Joe, and I hope the Bidens, I hope anybody that cares for that family gets with Hunter and tell him, like, listen, the buck stops here. You're in some deep water. How are you? But as I'm thinking about it out loud, Alan, I don't think he can because of the connection to his father. So I think they're in a real bad place. And the White House says, Biden's not going to pardon him. I'm not sure how much validity I give to that. Let me tell you what.
Who said that?
The White House. Well, it was reported on Fox News. It said White House, Biden will not pardon Hunter. So I got two thoughts on that. Number one, if you don't pardon your own son, you're the biggest piece of. I would pardon my son.
Let me tell you a little story about that. First of all, let me go back to the absurdity of the situation. And everybody's just getting sick and tired of it, right and left, I think, except for the fanatical far left and far right.
Yeah, agree.
The Jack Smith's case, there's just not enough there, mishandling documents, to send a guy to prison when other presidents have taken documents home. There's no way you can polish that turd, put lipstick on that pig, to make it look more important than it is. That it's a big, huge thing. It's, and I'll get back to that a little bit later. And there's nothing that you can do with the Bidens to excuse all of these deeds that clearly the evidence is piling up every day, that you have this extortion of the Ukrainian president to get a prosecutor fired, or you're not going to get $1.6 billion in U.S. aid when he was vice president. You compare that, selling American policy for the enrichment of your son and possibly yourself, and you compare mishandling of documents with that. And last night I saw this fellow Coates, who used to be the national security, head of national security in one of the departments there under Trump, and who's now turned on Trump. But he talked about how you got to handle these documents, these top secret documents, so that people's lives are at stake. That when you walk into the CIA, they have a wall. There's stars on these walls. There's no names, just stars. But each one of those stars represent a dead CIA agent who was revealed through document and got killed because of it. And he said that's what's in it's the mishandling of these documents. First of all, you don't have documents running around with the guy's real name on it.
And their location around the world.
You don't have that
and
on
their picture.
You don't have that on any CIA document floating around. So quit peddling and disparaging those people who lost their lives, defending the United States of America, saying that on that paper Trump was going around was CIA agents in Iran. And here's his name, and here's his picture. So if you get a look at this stuff and you made a call, you could get this guy killed over in Tehran tomorrow night. That's you can't polish that dirt. And then Coach goes on and says, let me tell you how, this Coach talking, he says, let me tell you how watchful and how important you have to view these documents and how watchful you must be and how careful you must be protected. My staff, my assistants, if I'm on my desk and I get top secret documents and I leave the office, they've got to take, they watch out for me. They take those top secret documents and they put them away in my office, and they lock the key. They lock it up for me because they know how important. You know where I'm going with this.
They're so important. He walks out of the room without caring about what happens to them.
Well, think about it. Every one of those staffers has top secret clearance. Every one of those interns that are working on your staff, your 23-year-old graduate from Vanderbilt or Columbia, goes and takes those top secret documents that you just left in a room full of rookies to look at. Hey, Sean, look, we got nukes over in Croatia. Did you know that?
They're TikToking.
Yeah, and here's the agent that's responsible for getting that information. Whoa, dude. I mean, you just now, and I'm listening, go, did I just hear this? I ran the DVR back. I listened to him say that, going, you were the most reckless guy at the head of security. Did something worse than Trump ever did in terms of exposing that stuff. But let me tell you, real quick, if I can. It's a very sad story. I haven't told it it's in my book. I'm right, but I haven't. If you don't allow somebody who's on drugs, somebody who has that in them, that addiction, unless they're allowed to hit rock bottom, very few of them ever get well. 1 in 1,000 get away. I'm one of those who got away. I thank God every day I was allowed the blessing to hit rock bottom. Part of that rock bottom was I didn't have wealthy parents to bail me out. I had a mother that was living on Social Security when I was acting a fool in Hollywood. I didn't have rich aunts or uncles to call up, hey, can you spare me some money for some cocaine? I didn't have the connections to get me a job anywhere. I didn't have that available to me, or I'll take probably out of it. I darn sure 100% would have used it. On the heat of the night, Carol O'Connor's son, Hugh, and I became very, very good friends. Hugh had a very, very, very severe drug issue that progressed from one season to the next. From season 1, he was on cocaine, marijuana. Number 2 came back. He progressed into the crack. 3rd season, it was even more drugs, more harsh drugs. He became emaciated. By the 4th, 5th season, he was about 6'1", and I would imagine, I'm guessing, probably 140 pounds in that last season. The middle of the 2nd season, Hugh got stopped in Georgia on a rural highway by one of the state troopers. Caught with possession, was brought into the station, and he made a phone call to his daddy. And his daddy, Carroll O'Connor, told me later on it was the worst mistake. I told him at the time. I said, Pops, don't do this. Don't bail him out. Let him the blessing of hit rock bottom, because I was up front with Carroll when I took that job about my past drug use. He would call on me a lot. I did my best. I wish I could have done more for you in the sense of, hey, I've been there, brother. I know how bad it can be, but you can lick it. You can, through the power of God, you can make it. Don't give up hope. Well, you didn't want to hear about God. But Carroll would call me in from time to time as things got worse, kind of asking, what do I suggest I do? And time after time, I said, Pops, you got to let him hit rock bottom. Hugh spent a half a night in jail. His dad bailed him out. That was on a Friday night. That Monday, we were in a scene together. And Hugh back then was making probably around $30,000, $35,000 an episode. So there he was on Friday night. You get busted for dope. He's hit rock bottom. He's scared to death. Good. That's where you have to go as a drug addict, to be jolted out of your addiction to where you actually look at what's happening to your life, what you're doing to yourself. But by that Monday, he is on a hit TV series with $30,000 in his pocket. That was quite a consequence of his actions. And I'm not blaming Carroll, although Carroll, if you follow the story and go back, he went from a very liberal on drugs to telling me one time when I first met Carroll that Hugh and Charles Bronson's son got caught smoking dope in one of the freshly cut graves over there at the Veterans Cemetery over there in Westwood. And he thought that was funny. And I happen to believe marijuana is a gateway drug. And I didn't find that funny. I said, Pops, you better watch things. You got to watch it. This thing leads on no addictive personality. I haven't. And I see it in your son, Hugh, great guy, but he's got it. What's the point of this story? Well, Hugh O'Connor, in, I believe, 1996, got so addicted, had the money to keep buying the stuff, that he lost what little hope he had left one night. And it was the night Carroll told him that I'm not going to give you any more money. You had called Carroll. This is in Carroll's book. And he needed more money. And Carroll said, no, you have to go to rehab. And Hugh said, well, if I have to do that, I'm just going to cap myself tonight. Carroll didn't think he would do that. Who would? I wouldn't. But that night, he had like 15, 16 guns. He was a gun collector. He put one of those guns to his head and killed himself. I say that to say this. If Joe Biden truly love their son Hunter, and I have no doubt that they do. They've already lost one son. The best thing you could do would let this thing play out wherever it goes. Let your son hit rock bottom. Don't be calling up people and saying, hey, my son needs some money and he's made these paintings. And I know we've done this for you and you love us. So could you go buy one of these paintings for $150,000 or $200,000 because he really needs the money? That's not allowing him to hit rock bottom. And the chances are overwhelmingly that Hunter Biden will go back to using. And as severe as he was when he was using, the same fate of Hugh O'Connor could await him. That is a very real possibility. Allow the blessing of allowing someone you love to hit rock bottom, because that's the only way. And that's what I see unfolding before my eyes is, a family trying to take care of their son and prevent him from doing the one thing or letting the one thing happen that could actually heal him. Want to take a break?
Yeah.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
That's true. Do you think Hunter's bad off right now? Do you think he's an addict? Assuming that the coke is...
You're never not an addict. You're just one drink away. Robin Williams, I worked with Robin Williams. He was sober for 26 years. And then you go back. It's like the Bible says, when the demon leaves, and if you invite that demon back in, it brings even more demons back into your body and your soul. You look at what he did. I mean, he is a severe addict. I mean, you've seen the pictures. I mean, to go on to crack cocaine, if you get to crack cocaine, you're in real trouble. It is a lifelong battle. And I forget who was on TV, had seen Hunter. It was the guy, the Wolf, that they based the movie Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Who's hardcore drug addict. He insists he feels that he's seen Hunter in footage, on the party for the Prime Minister of India and some other situations. And just by his actions, his body language, the look in his eye, he thinks he's using. Now that's him thinking, but I know what he's talking about. Haven't been there, been around that stuff. I can't say for sure, but I certainly know what that guy's talking about. I see the same. I'm not going to say that, but this guy sees the same things I see, and pretty much anybody else that was on the grips of cocaine, crack, all those are kissing cousins.
But you would, I would.
You got to love you.
That's a tough question.
Well, it was too tough for Carol Connor. By the time Carol
1 minute
said, "This is the only thing I have left is to get tough and make him go to rehab and withhold money because you went broke. You spent all his money on drugs."
That'd be real sad.
He said, "No, son," and he was so far gone by then that the thought of going back to a rehab again, because he went to 3 or 4 of them, was such it was just something he couldn't handle. He preferred death than going back to rehab. And you hope that you can allow your,
30 seconds.
Yeah, if this works, this plays out, and Hunter goes to prison, may not only be not the end of the road for Hunter Biden, it could be the beginning of a new life. He might come out of there and say, "You know what?
That'll be the end of Joe Biden."
No, but you could come out of there going, "I have another daughter I've never acknowledged. I've had time to think with a sober mind, and I'm going to come back into my daughter's life.
5 seconds.
I'm going to make amends for this. Some good things happen if you allow it, but it's tough."
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Sinlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
And welcome back to Alan Autry No Retreat with Guillermo Moreno, Free for All Friday. Now, Guillermo, you being a Michigan State Spartan guy, right?
Go Green!
Big Ten, right?
Okay,
and Northwestern's in the Big Ten. Biggest 10 ever.
Alan.
No.
Kind of little. Look at their stadium, Alan. It's a small stadium.
Two things.
Small team.
So I don't know who Trump roots for. I don't know what his favorite college team. Probably whatever state he's campaigning in.
Yeah, for sure.
From Alabama, go Tide.
Yeah.
Roll Tide. In Tennessee, I love the Volunteers. Just like a typical politician. But so you follow a little bit the Big Ten, right?
Oh, I love it.
And Northwestern's in the Big Ten.
Oh, absolutely.
And Pat Fitzgerald, the great coach there at Northwestern, was an all-star linebacker at Northwestern. 17 years he's been the head coach at Northwestern. Took them from worst to first in a couple of seasons. Everybody, all indication, he was the face of Northwestern. Everybody loved him. Then you have these hazing charges come. The president and the AD just get rid of him. Boom. Oh, I'm going, okay, he must have known what was going on. But you find out that the investigation that was launched, an independent investigation that the school brought in, said that Coach Pat Fitzgerald did not know of any of this, that it was all the players. Yet they get rid of the coach, but they keep all the assistant coaches.
That'll show them.
No, but I mean, if you're in the reason was, and you read this, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but it was, you should have known the unknown. You're responsible for this. And I'm looking at this going, you can't expect a head coach to know everything these teenagers are doing. They do crazy stuff. We did crazy stuff when I was in college, the University Pacific football team. Every team around the country. And you're going to fire this coach because you feel like you got to fire somebody. How about the players that did the hazing?
Yeah.
I mean, what's your thoughts? I think this guy's getting a raw deal. It's Pat
Well,
Fitzgerald. I think, and he's going to sue. And I say, go sue him and make it for a lot of money because you set this precedent that you got to know the unknown. There won't be a coach that can withstand that standard.
Yeah.
Any place.
And I don't know the culture at Northwestern. I know the culture of Big Ten. We're like a family. We don't do hazing or any of that stuff. We keep it above the fold. Unless you're from U of M and you're a Wolverine transferring in, well then it's a different story. But I don't know the culture there. But I would assume that most of the coaching staff knows what's going on with their students, and I think a lot of them. I know the Colonel. I mean, the Colonel was on coaching staff at Ohio State, and he always prided himself of really being close. I mean, it was a different generation back then too. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to kind of know everything that's going on in your program. And you're spending you're spending so much time with these.
You can't know. You can't be with these kids 24/7. You don't. They have a coach. You talk about the.
Was this during football season or out of football season?
It was a hazing thing that they did internally with the team. No coach knows. They don't know 1/10 of what goes on with those kids in their off time. This didn't happen out on the field. Apparently, this happened on campus, off campus, wherever. And you can't expect the coach. Now, if the coach knew, the coach finds out and didn't do anything, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But you have 17 years, and you have, I think, 10 players coming forward saying, that this was what was done to them. First of all, they didn't report it till all these years later. And then why don't you know the names of these players? They didn't mention names of the players that did it. These are the people that did these embarrassing sexual things, apparently. Well, if that's sexual assault, who did it? Go after the player.
Yeah.
None of it. And these cowards at Northwestern, and to show you how much of a coward they are, I hate saying this, but they are. The president and this AD, they had the interim coach up at the Big Ten Day go up and do their press conference. Now, every other AD of every other Big Ten school was there sitting next to their coach while the coach answered questions about the upcoming season, except the AD of Northwestern, who throws his interim coach up there, who gets grilled for nearly an hour. And guess what they're talking about? Not about whether they're going to go to the wishbone or not. They want to know about all the hazing. And you leave this guy twisting in the wind. I mean, there needs to be a cleaning house, but it needs to start with the president and the AD.
Yeah, for sure.
You bring Pat Fitzgerald back, apologize to him.
Well, I don't want him to go back. I want him to go back.
Because you want him to be. He's too good of a coach.
I want him to go to Michigan State. We need to get rid of Mel Tucker. And we need to get him over there.
You've tarnished this guy's career possibly forever. Fine coach, fine upstanding man. The inquiry, the investigation, cleared him of any knowledge.
Yeah.
And they tried to find something on him. This independent investor did everything they could. And I tell you, this guy is lawyering up, and my heart just goes out for this guy because apparently he represented we do things right.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's unfortunate because it's one of those things where heads got to roll.
Well,
I understand that aspect of it, but like you said, you got to hold these kids accountable.
Well, you go up and who Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders. Do you go and sue him because of what this wide receiver Ruggs did, who got drunk, went 120 miles an hour in his car, killed a young girl in another car? You say you should have known what Ruggs was driving 120 miles an hour?
No way.
Well, it's the same thing with these kids. You should have known the unknowable. You should have been clairvoyant, Coach Fitzgerald. Gosh, you talk about an absurd standard to hold somebody to.
Well, I think it's all of college sports. I mean, when you look at college sports, Alan, is big money now. It's a lot. I mean, it's business now. It's big business. So it doesn't surprise me that Northwestern does something like this. Like, hey, let's just get rid of the top guy. Let's get rid of him. We can kind of we still need a good team. So let's kind of keep together his pieces just to make sure we're still in the hunt. And that's unfortunate. NCAA, and this isn't Penn State had, remember Sandusky?
Oh yeah.
So
Now, okay.
So I mean, you had unfortunately and then who was the? There was another one in the South. It was out. They were green and something. They had a rapper just recently doing music.
Historically Black University, and you see what the coach did. He found out about that.
Shut the whole program down.
Exactly.
And I think that's what Fitzgerald probably would have done if it would have been under his watch.
Excuse me. Of course he would. Yeah. In fact, he's on tape saying Hazing has, when he took the job, Hazing has should be no part of college athletics. In fact, you should welcome the young guys, mentor them, show them how to conduct yourself as a gentleman and a player for Northwestern. That was his philosophy. Well, he had this thing that happened. Hey, in college, especially football players, I can't speak for basketball players, baseball players. They're probably as crazy. But we did crazy things as college football players.
Yeah.
I mean, just one of these days we can go over something that I can tell. But I just feel so sorry for this coach who's given his life. And 17 seasons. I remember a few years back, he got offered some huge job making triple what he was making at Northwestern. NFL jobs, turns them down to stay at Northwestern. Turns all of them down to stay at Northwestern. Then they do this to the guy.
That's unfortunate. Northwestern, I've been there a couple of times. It's such a beautiful campus, such a hometown feeling.
You got to be smart to get in there.
Yeah, I didn't get in there. I just went to go watch Michigan State beat up on them.
What do you think about Harbaugh? He's going to be suspended
for what?
I don't know.
No
I thought
way.
That would make you happy.
Harbaugh?
You didn't know that?
I was pretty.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, he's the NC2A, and he's not staying quiet.
For what?
He's going Trump on him.
I like it.
His lawyer. I don't know what he did.
I was anti-Harbaugh.
4 games. He's out.
It's not like they need him. They're so good.
Yeah.
But I felt really bad when during abortion last year, during the whole abortion stuff, he had said that he had a conversation with all of his players. He's pro-life. That if any of them got a girl pregnant and were thinking about aborting the child, said, no, you come, me and my wife will take care of that child. After that,
this is for real.
For real. After that, I had to put it aside.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm a big man for doing that. I know.
Well, but for Harbaugh to do that
yeah.
And that's verified.
Verified. You can look it up, Jack.
Wow. Oh, I just seen right now here CNN, White House very carefully monitoring rising gas prices. How do you carefully monitor?
Carefully.
You just go up there, you look at the tank. Have you ever gone into
a
gas station, put it there and watch your, mine shuts off at $100. Most gas stations.
Joe Biden's at
my Silverado, I put in there $100 and I still got a quarter of a tank. 3/4 of a tank, $100 still.
Joe Biden's at some gas station going like this.
What?
Watching it. Hey, Karain. He's putting a lot of gallons in. Wait, which one's the gallons?
I'm monitoring it.
I'm monitoring it.
What does that crap mean? You're monitoring it.
It's one of those things where they think the American people are dumb, Alan. The American people are hurting at the pump, but we're going to tell them that we're keeping a close eye on it. We're watching it.
As if that's going to make them, he's going to suddenly say, I'm not going to kill the coal industry. Oh, by the way, have you seen that the price of, obviously your electric bills are going up left and right, but the consumption of gas and coal going up, the use of it.
Yeah.
Because of the air conditioning. And the environmentalists they don't know how to deal with this because only 1/10 of the world's population has access to air conditioning. So what you're saying is just cap it at that. The poor souls that don't have air conditioning under the spirit of the new Green Deal. Sorry, I'm going to sit in my air conditioned apartment, sip my latte, and you can fry over there in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And rather than give you air conditioning like us special anointed folks, because we're so much smarter than you. And the new Green Deal is just in your best interest while you and your kids die of heat stroke.
Alan, this is really what really frustrates me.
Isn't that elitist? That's exactly what they're saying.
It's elitist and it's so out of touch and it's just unrealistic. A lot of things in politics, I think both sides go boom, boom, go like this. Do I think our climate is changing? Yeah, no more than it was 3,000 years ago. Do I believe that humans are possibly having an impact on the climate? Sure. But I'm not going to say that is the factor on the climate. But to sit there and to tell the American people, listen, what y'all got to start doing is you got to stop driving your car. You got to stop eating meat. You got to not have a gas stove. Don't even eat, for that matter. While you're at it now, we think your air conditioning, and restaurants too. You got to switch out the way you make food. We think that will all make a difference and change the world. The problem with certain people in this world, they have a very unrealistic Walt Disney idea of utopia and what that will look like. They don't actually care about the real world implications. You look at the water allocation here in the Central Valley, the Delta Schno. I mean, it is we will literally set our house on fire if we believe that the house is being mean. I mean, it probably would. That I don't know about that house over there. The way it's been standing firm for all these years is representative of a bad America and colonial. Burn it down. Where are we at? We should burn it down.
Yeah. Well, the thing is when you examine, excuse me, this new Green Deal thing, and it's going to be like the issue of people in primarily minority communities, finding out that the school districts, you're trapped in your zip code, that you have to go to this certain school and this school is failing. And you dig down a little deeper and you find out that school board's in the pocket of the teachers union and all this stuff. It's all that your kid's welfare and your kid getting a quality education is the farthest thing from their mind. That they're going to say they're fighting for you. Well, more and more families are finding out that this con job that's been perpetrated on them for the last 4 decades is something and they're mad. They're getting more and more angry about it. They want that's why school choice now, you do surveys on it. And if you put a school choice thing on the ballot here in California, usually the teachers union would kill it. It passes. And I don't think the teachers union has the clout because they've been exposed during COVID. And I'm pro-union. I'm not against the unions, but I also know union leadership can be way out of step with the rank and file. But it's the same thing with the new Green Deal. Do you know that they have ways of capturing the carbon dioxide emitted from a coal or gas-powered plant? See, in order to create the electricity for the air conditioning, you have at this point fuel it with gas or coal. Coal is dirtier than gas. The natural gas is 50% less polluting than the coal, but they both have some kind of some pollution factor. But they have technology that can capture that carbon dioxide and dispose of it without it going into the atmosphere. But they're not making that known. Why not invest more in that technology of taking the carbon dioxide out of the air, capture it before it gets released into the air, because that's the substance that they trace back that's causing the global warming. You don't hear about that, except today in the article through the Atlantic, a very liberal outfit, followed up by the Washington Post, said that's what they're doing with these plants now because, why? It's one of the hottest summers. They're running the plants more, which is creating more pollution. So now they're saying, well, let's take these plants that we didn't have this technology hooked up to. Let's hook it up to the plants. They've had it all along. Did you know that? I didn't know that they had a technology they can plug in to this dirty coal-fueled plant, a natural gas plant, that stops the pollution from being emitted. We've been told it's either shut down the fossil fuels and
it's about money, Alan,
and go bankrupt.
Nobody makes money that way,
or the planet frying to death.
Nobody makes money that way, Alan. Solving that problem is not going to be beneficial. They can't push EV vehicles that way.
But when the common sense fence sitters on this, and we know a lot of them, you're one of them. I'm going, we want clean air. There's some things about this Green New Deal, but you got to phase things in. We can't just go from all to solar, all wind, because the sun doesn't shine all the time. The wind doesn't blow all the time. And we have so many things that are made out of fossil fuels, not just run our cars on it. You didn't go from the horse to the car overnight. I mean, you had horses. The economy was based around the horse. The feed that was grown for the horse, the bridal salesmen, the blacksmiths, You had
who salesman?
They had industries all over that the economy was based on the horse. So they didn't say, hey, let's ban the horses and go to cars. Well, wait a minute. You don't have enough cars. And by the way, those cars being produced, the average American can't afford it. They phased it in. And that's why you see pictures back in the 1910s, 1920s. You'll see cities with horses going down the road with cars as they smartly made the transition. Now, you don't see a blacksmith much anymore. You don't see horses going down the middle of the street unless you go to Clovis.
What was a bridesmith you just told me?
No, blacksmith.
I think you said bridesmith.
No, blacksmith.
I'm pretty sure you said bridesmith. And that's
I stand corrected.
Okay, right.
You're missing the salient.
I'm sorry.
Point. I'm making a brilliant point here.
Yes.
And you're just
transition.
You've got to transition slowly and economically a feasible way. And they're wanting to go cold turkey, killing economies. Europe is dying. Germany is dying. And you know who's committing to fossil fuels are going to kick our butts? Is the China, Russia, India, South Africa. They're going. Let me tell you, the fossil fuel countries are going to rule the world the next 3, 4, 5 decades. And those who commit to the new Green Deal completely are going to find themselves so far in the toilet that we're going to be subservient and slaves to these fossil states, these fossil countries.
Can I get in here?
Yes, get in here. Take the rest of the show.
I've been wanting to
take it all.
I've been wanting to. This is the whole show. I figured out
a really big shoe.
I figured out how to put Fresno back on the map. All right, how we can be on the cutting edge.
I don't know if I want to be on the map. I don't want people moving here.
I don't either.
Take Fresno off the map. I don't want people to know how to get here from the Bay Area. We have enough people. It's all grow old and become extinct.
You're going to think I'm crazy. You already do because of the UFO thing.
Mi compadre es muy loco.
No, listen. Flying cars. So the FAA has now given more licenses to these companies that are going to do flying taxis and flying cars, right? And as I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking to myself, where in the heck should the first flying community be? It shouldn't be in a highly dense area, right? So there goes San Diego, there goes LA, there goes San Fran, and it shouldn't be anywhere, right, in those areas. It should be in a place that has, a considerable amount of land mass. And we all know that we have a lot of tech here, and normally that kind of stuff incubates here in California, unless you're like Elon Musk and you say, hey, you're too expensive, we need to get the heck out of Dodge. But when you look at the Central Valley and you look at our geography, I could really see Fresno being the flying car hub. So
and in 10 years we'd be the flying carjacking capital of the world.
Alan, hold on, wait, we can't.
With Mayor Dyers,
call the coppers out here.
Dyers crackdown on crime. By that time, it'll be so pervasive. Yeah, you'll be flying up there, and here he comes. Out of the car, dude.
But hear me out. Listen, flying cars are coming.
How did you get on flying cars? How did my bridesmith comment, which I still said, I want to hear that show back. I said blacksmith.
Transitioning.
Transitioning.
Okay. So what's the future? Flying cars. That is the future. It's coming.
And again, the point on the economy.
What about it?
Well, the transition.
It'll happen.
It'll happen. Not destroying the economy.
It's Bidenomics, Alan. Nothing needs to make sense.
The new Green Deal demands instant death of the coal and gas industry. Kill the Keystone Pipeline. And all it's doing is enriching Middle Eastern countries and Saudi Arabia, so they can buy all the sports influencers around.
They can do weird things.
Golfers, NBA. So all these social influencers that have millions of young minds following them, telling them that those Saudi Arabian princes are really nice guys. Don't listen to the stories about them chopping up journalists they don't like. Believe me, they're good guys. They just paid me $380 million. We're making these people richer than they know what to do with the money.
They're so crazy.
Because we won't be energy self-sufficient. Go ahead.
The Saudi prince wants to create a utopia in the desert. Have you heard of Nome, the project?
No, I haven't.
It is it's insane. It's this 750 mile. It looks like the Great Wall of China, but it's all glass. And it's going to be all self-sufficient.
That spooks me even thinking about that. That
all
spooks
self-sufficient.
me. That gives me the EWGBs even thinking
all
about
self-sufficient. No power, no nothing. green space, stadiums, people live, no cars, all in one straight line. 750 miles. And then here's the next thing he wants to do. He wants to create the world's biggest ship community. This thing looks like a turtle. The renderings looks like a big old turtle. It's got movie theaters, 16 villas. I think up to like almost 100,000 people can be all out on this thing, and it's unsinkable. It won't sink.
Yeah.
Heard that before.
Yeah.
So we're making these people. They do have more money than they know what to do with.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's ever going to happen. This world economy is heading for a crash and burn.
I can't believe
The
you
likes
haven't
that we
seen
haven't
No.
seen. No,
I
I think I've heard a little bit about it.
It's. I don't know if
I prefer Mendota.
Hey,
That's my kind of town.
I don't.
Mendota.
Me too. Hey, they're catching the
Mendota.
M13s out
I
there.
left my heart in Fireball, California.
Oh man. I don't know if I should say it,
And
but
Tranquility, San Joaquin, all those towns out there love y'all so much. Parlier, how you doing in Parlier? Our signal gets out to Parlier.
yeah, of course it does.
Well, our signal, you go on the internet, you can get Natchez, Mississippi. How you doing? Buddy in Natchez, email us. We got to start answering emails on the line.
We do. There's
Not
no.
the phone. Okay.
It's right there.
We got 37 seconds.
There
Talk
you
to
go.
the folks.
All right. So listen. So I'm showing Alan Autry. So quick story. I don't know.
No, I don't want to go there.
I don't know if I can
I have
share
no
it.
desire to go there.
I don't know if I can share it or not. So he doesn't like any of the renderings of Nome or another city that they're working on. So they're getting U.S. architecture firms in and out to try to design stuff for the Saudi prince. My brother-in-law was recently over there last year. He's an architect.
Hanging out with KSM or what is it?
I can't confirm or deny.
Okay. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in for the hour of nonsense known as Alan Autry's Free for All Friday. Love you so much. God bless you, and just do your best. Let God do the rest. And we'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye now.